Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of The County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. The County Seat is a program that looks at important community issues around the state of Utah and the efforts that your local leaders are taking to address those issues. Tonight we are going to talk about jails. You know, in the game of Monopoly, it is quite often the player who is deprived of money when he or she is sent directly to jail. However, here in the state of Utah, it is quite often the jail who is deprived of the money needed to care for a prisoner when someone is sent directly to a county jail from a Utah state court. Here with the details is Terry Wood.
This is it, the end of the road. For many convicted felons who are ever hoping to rejoin society, the last part of their journey may be spent in a place like this, a county jail, rather than a state prison. Upon sentencing, the standard statutory procedure for convicted felons is to be remanded directly to state corrections, the prison. But many of those prisoners will eventually end up in a county jail, where the conditions are less harsh than the penitentiary. That's because most of the county jails contract with the state to house excess convicts. But there is a growing trend among district court judges to take a more active role in a person's incarceration and sentence them to serve their time directly under county supervision. And many of Utah's sheriffs are concerned about it.
The district courts use it as a legitimate tool. The issue is not whether the facility is being necessarily used correctly. It's a question of who's going to pay what portion of it.
I would have no problem with those inmates that we arrest here, or people that are arrested in our county and have lived here all their life, if they were sentenced to our jail to do their time. That isn't a problem. The problem is the funding that the counties rely on from the state to make all that work. And if they don't do their part, then we can't do our part the way it needs to be done.
For contract prisoners, we receive around $45 a day. Probationary prisoners or prisoners sentenced to the county jails, we get 23, I believe it is, a day. We're not treating them any different, that's for sure. They still eat the same food and use the same facilities.
The source of the problem is in the funding. Prisoners who come to the jails from the prison are paid for under a contract funded by the state at a higher rate. Prisoners who come to the jails directly from the courtroom are paid from another fund that the legislature has continually underfunded, leaving the reimbursement rate at $23.
If the legislature at the state level thinks that it's better to make the county to be the bearer of bad news to the county taxpayer, property taxpayer in our case, then I would just appreciate it if the legislature would stand up and take responsibility as well as say, well, we'll just cut the budget and that's a county responsibility. Well, no, it's a state responsibility.
I mean, the whole system with jails is a mess. And when it doesn't run right, then it's the county's fault. Well, that isn't true. Most of the counties in the state manage their jails pretty well with what they have to manage with.
The solution to the problem could be as simple as getting the legislature to establish a specified contract rate for the courts to use and then fund it sufficiently. Another route would be to require all felons to be remanded to state corrections for punishment, but allow a judge to recommend specific sentencing. According to Sheriff Smith from Kane County, this idea would make sure that all prisoners are evaluated for the risk they might pose. Still another would be to come up with a whole new model for jail funding.
Some new funding mechanism within the counties for the jail seems to make some sense. And I think that's an issue that Utah Association of Counties and others should really put their heads around. Go to the legislature and define what portion they are or aren't going to pay, and we get it earmarked. And it's going to be paid out on an annual basis, whatever that is. And then we go to the cities, or we create either a fee or perhaps a mill levy for jails.
The legislature needs to take a real hard look at where they're spending all their money. And they need to decide what's important and what isn't. There are a lot of things that government does, not just state government, county government does, that they could not do and survive very well. The state has got to make the decisions on what are absolute needs do we absolutely have and what needs are just somebody's want.
Reporting for the county seat, I'm Terry Wood.
There are many issues still unresolved with state prisoners in county jails. When we come back, we'll discuss some of them with Weber County Sheriff Brad Slater and Utah County Commissioner Steve White. We'll be right back.
You're watching a preview episode of The County Seat. The county seat will allow county governments from across the state to finally set the public agenda for discussion on issues that have previously been distorted or ignored by the traditional agenda-driven media. The county seat will make sure that all sides of complex issues will be presented in the public debate. It will showcase the complexities of the decisions that county governments have to make as they tackle these important issues. The county seat will stress the importance and scope of the impact that local government has on our lives over state and federal issues. It will reinforce the direct connection that citizens have with their local governments. It will give the counties the chance to lead the discussion on critical issues before they become emotionalized and fragmented by local media or special interest groups. We'll have more information for you in a minute. And now back to Chad Booth and the county seat.